This video won't have fancy editing. It's meant to be heard, absorbed, and then you move on with your life. Put on your headphones while you're on the bus, gaming, or doing anything that doesn't require more than two brain cells working at the same time. The point here is to deliver the message, not to win a Mr. Beast award or whatever. That's it. Watch the video. If you like the video, subscribe. Nothing changes if nothing changes. But what do you mean about that? Let me explain. And here's what nobody tells you. You don't have a motivation problem. You don't have a confidence problem. You don't even have a discipline problem. Your habits are those keeping you in the loop. And habits don't disappear because you feel ready, but only when you decide they're no longer allowed to exist. You want better results, but you keep the same habits. You want confidence, but you avoid uncomfortable situations. You want money, but you scroll more than you build. You want respect, but you don't respect your own word. The life you want requires a version of you that doesn't exist yet. And here's another uncomfortable truth. Your life is not reacting to your goals, it's reacting to your routines. And the number one mistake that most people make is believing that information creates transformation. It doesn't. You can watch 500 self-improvement videos and read 30 books, but if your knowledge is not followed with your actions, it is all useless. You can write your goals every January, but if your daily behavior stays the same, your life stays the same. If you wake up at the same time, talk to the same people, spend money the same way, avoid risk instead of growth, why are you shocked? Why would reality reward repetition of mediocrity? You say you want to be different, but you protect the habits that keep you average. That's the contradiction. And I can tell you from experience that growth feels like a loss at first. You lose comfort, convenience. You lose the version of you that feels safe. And that's why most people quit. Because they mistake discomfort for danger. And if you worry about failing, just remember this. You are already failing every time you stay the same. But it gets deeper than this. The mistake that keeps ambitious people average is trying to change everything at once. Gym, diet, waking up at 5 a.m. and meditating 20 minutes right after. Then 3 days later, they collapse. Why? Because they try to change identity without changing structure. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your systems. Make good habits easier than bad ones. And stop negotiating with yourself. Because every time you say, I'll start tomorrow, you're voting for the same life again. Now listen carefully. Your future is hidden inside your daily standards. Not your dreams, but your standards. What do you tolerate? Do you tolerate being late? Is being distracted okay with you? Is weak effort okay when nobody's watching? If yes, nothing changes. If nothing changes. Now let me give you something practical. If you want confidence, you need to do one thing daily that scares you. You don't want to get out of your comfort zone. You want to expand it. If you want discipline, you need to keep one promise to yourself every day. If you said one page, then read one page. Not once. Not when you feel inspired, but daily. Consistency is boring, but it compounds. But here's a brutal truth. Your current life is the result of repeated behaviors. Not bad luck, not the algorithm, not your parents, but repeated behaviors. Let me tell you a story. There's a guy who keeps saying he wants to get in shape. Every Sunday night, he feels motivated. He watches transformation videos, saves gym workout, and plans his new diet. But Monday comes, he wakes up tired, hits snooze, says to himself, I'll start tomorrow. Tuesday comes, now I'm busy. Wednesday, had a long day, not now. Friday, come on man, I deserve a drink. And Sunday night comes again. He feels behind, guilty, frustrated. But here's the part that hurts. He doesn't hate the gym. He hates breaking his comfort. So every week he starts. But nothing restarts because nothing changed. Now 5 years pass, same body, same excuses, same conversations. Not because he's incapable, but because he never interrupted the pattern. And here's the problem. He'll repeat that cycle for years unless something interrupts him. You say, I'm stuck. You're not stuck. You're in a loop. The good news is, loops can be broken. You need to interrupt your autopilot. Wake up earlier than usual. Go to the gym when you don't feel like it. Apply for that job. Post the content that you have in your drafts. If you worry about what people will think, just remember, they are too busy worrying about themselves. If you want to create, don't wait until you feel ready. Ready never comes. Action creates readiness. And this applies to everything. Confidence comes from proof. Proof comes from action. And action comes from decision. The decision of taking ownership. And ownership starts when you stop blaming your environment. You cannot think your way into a new life. You have to behave your way into one. And behavior requires discomfort. And the reality is that the version of you that achieves more is not smarter. He just tolerates discomfort better. That's it. He trains when he's tired. He works when he is bored. He always shows up when even though nobody's watching. And eventually, he becomes undeniable. If you're worried about being behind in life, just remember, most people never even start. You are ahead the moment you decide to move. But movement requires sacrifice. If nothing changes in 5 years, that's not bad luck. That was your decision. You need to change something real, not symbolic. Real. Change your sleep time. Change your morning routine. Change your spending habits. Let me give you a hard question. If nothing changes in your life for the next 5 years, are you okay with that? If the answer is no, then something must be changed. Today. Not Monday, not next month. A small change, a real change. A small change, repeated daily, creates a massive difference. But only if you don't quit. The biggest mistake that people make after starting is expecting immediate results. You don't go to the gym for 2 weeks and have a six-pack. You don't post content for a month and suddenly have a viral video. You save money for 3 months and still not rich. So you stop. And then guess what? Nothing changes. Because nothing changed long enough. Here's what I want you to understand. Time rewards consistency, not intensity. You don't need extreme effort. You need sustained effort. And that's less exciting, but far more powerful. If you ever worry about starting small, just remember, big lives are built quietly. No one applauds the early days, the repetition, the discipline, until one day they call you lucky. So here's your decision. Stay comfortable and predictable, or get uncomfortable and transform. But don't lie to yourself. Don't say you want more while protecting what keeps you small. You have to choose, because at the end of the day, your life is not stuck. It's structured. And if you want a different life, you need to build a different structure. Nothing changes if nothing changes. And at the moment you change, everything begins to.